times, but with the elections coming up on Thursday, everybody is like scrambling for the last minute in order to get their message out and to proclaim they're the ones that need to be elected on Thursday. And I'm sure that you've heard the various commercials, Diane Black and others that are on the radio or even on TV and all the different mailings. And that will come to a close beginning Thursday night after 8 o'clock. And then there'll be a little bit of a break. And then you'll see people where they will start to push this even more as we go toward November. So it's just one of those things. Political season. You got to love it. All right. Hopefully you had a great weekend. I know that I did. Got to enjoy a little bit of pleasure. Heading down to Atlanta and checking things out. Traffic is really crazy down there. Even in the evening, it's crazy. Didn't go down to see the Braves. I'm sure that our good buddy Nick LeFew probably says, I went down there to catch my Braves. Like, no. Unless the Cardinals were playing, no. Just not into the Braves. I mean, ever since the 90s, I've just kind of been rubbed the wrong way as far as with the Braves. It's just the way it is. But, we have fun checking out new things, new areas. And, I'm looking forward to when racing gets back down south again, because I do want to go catch a race either at Talladega or up at Bristol. And Bristol will be here before you know it. Right now, they just got through with the Overton's 400 over at Pocono. And, a lot of the teams were making their way over to Central PA, where I used to call home, and making their trek up US 15 up to Watkins Glen and catching all the different haulers and stuff. I haven't talked to any of my friends up there that I still have friends, yes. But I'm sure that the normal routine of people going to the Wegmans parking lot, there right at the cusp of where Interstate 180 and US 15, which eventually is going to become I-99, makes its way right directly up to the track there in Watkins Glen. And I mean, it's one of these quaint little communities in South Central New York that they get to enjoy having the big stage come to them. So while we're talking about NASCAR, why don't we just go ahead and check in with Susie Armstrong, get you updated with the latest in world and racing here on Nooga Radio 92.7 FM.
A seven-time champ makes it to 600.
I mean, it's a long grind.
I'm Susie Armstrong.
My fitness and hydration, nutrition has helped physical, aspects of it, and I'm in better shape now than I was when I started, and I think photos will prove that when you look at my rookie season. But just from an experience standpoint, emotional standpoint, I mean, it's a long grind. I'm 17 years in, and there's definitely some scars in there.
I'm Susie Armstrong, and this is the
Thank you very much, Susie. And we'll check in with her again tomorrow night. And we'll get you updated with more NASCAR racing news coming up here a little bit later on. But they head to I Love New York 355 at the Glen. That'll get underway on Sunday at 1:30. That's on August 5th. It's hard to believe that we're just a day away of completing July. You probably get tired of hearing me say this, but it seems like as you get older, days just fly by quickly, and it doesn't fly by quick enough to get to the next season, like football season or basketball or hockey or baseball or whatever. Now, we're in the midst of baseball. Trade deadline coming up here tomorrow. And it will be interesting to see what teams are going to be scurrying about like little mice trying to make their rosters that much better. So if there is a playoff run for them, they can do so. I just saw the other day, I don't have my phone here with me, where the Phillies and the Mets made a trade. And I actually thought that the Mets were in a pretty decent position where they could come back and try to make a run for the playoffs. But evidently Philly, thought, well, the Mets aren't really going to do that well, probably not advance like they think. So why not go ahead and stockpile here a little bit and give one of our good prospects in the minor leagues an opportunity to hit the big time with the Mets. And the Phillies were able to get someone that could actually make an immediate impact and still have a year or two left on their contract by playing in the infield for the Phillies. So some teams, even if they're not in a playoff hunt, will do a little jockeying and maneuvering in order to get ready for the next season. So there's several teams out there that are still looking, especially for pitching. Very rarely you'll find a team that will go into it wanting to improve their outfield or their infield. It's more looking for pitching because you can never get enough pitching in order to get ready for that playoff run. It's just the way it is. So while we're talking baseball, bullpen falters. Like I said, teams look for pitching, no matter if it's on the minor league levels or major league levels. And the Lookouts lost again to the Tennessee Smokies Sunday, 8-3. Playing up in the Knoxville area, the Lookouts were too late to catch the Smokies in that 8-3 loss in Sunday's Game 2, second half record of 14-23. Chattanooga now sits in fifth place in the North Division, 7 games out of first place. Wow. It's not impossible. They could come back and make some noise. But it was a pitcher's duel, according to reports in the early innings before the Smokies bats woke up. Omar Bencomo pitched into the fifth inning and allowed 2 runs on 5 hits, striking out 5 and walking 2. The culprit was Verneo Machine, as he went 3 for 3 with a game-changing home run in the fifth inning. That would send Bencomo packing, and the Smokies would score for the next 3 innings in their win. But Xander Weil now leads the Southern League in hitting with a .312 batting average. Went 3 for 4 in the game yesterday. So Chattanooga trying to get back into the hunt of things, but they've got a long ways to go. It's not necessarily a short time to get there, like Smokey and Bandit's theme song, but they're going to need a little bit of help from some of the other teams out there to make a push for this. 423-800-8949 is the phone number to call. 423-800-8949. Call us up. You can also participate on Facebook Live at Nooga Radio 92.7 FM and give us your questions or comments. Talk sports. Chattanooga Football Club. A little bit of news there. General manager and one of the founders of the team, and along with one other board member, resigning Sunday from the Chattanooga Football Club. Sean McDaniel, been there from the get-go and helping bring soccer, or football as we know it, to the Chattanooga area, and abruptly resigning from that position. Evidently looking at going in a different direction. They were looking to go pro next year, and evidently not everybody on the board was on board with that idea. And so it goes. Power struggle in effect, I guess you could say. Not enough support from other board members to make a difference. And quite possibly, from what I read, Chattanooga may see a second soccer team come to Chattanooga. Well, if you can do it with one, why couldn't you do it with another? Is Chattanooga big enough for two soccer teams? That's the real question. My opinion, I think, and I've only been in Chattanooga, for, let's see, about 10 months, almost a year. We'll be 11 months here in a couple of days, but having two teams, same level, even though one may be pro and the other one amateur, it could work. I've seen it in other similar size cities, but you're going after the same marketing partners, could be playing at the same venue, possibly, or would it be at another location that's prominent? And would you find another group of Chattahooligans out there, or would the Chattahooligans support both teams? I'm sure that they would, but whether or not that's going to be something that would occur, that's another story to be thought about, talked about, and explored. What's your thoughts on it? You can call us at 423-800-8949. Two soccer teams in Chattanooga? Is that really possible? That's the question. I really think that, we have the Chattanooga Eagles, which is our semi-pro football team. There's other semi-pro football teams that are in our area, like one over in Eastridge with the Tennessee Cobras. Then you've got up in Nashville, they've got a couple of semi-pro teams, Middle Tennessee Bulldogs, and then there's also the Tennessee Lightning that both come out of Nashville. So, it's possible that could work. We've got other semi-pro teams that are nearby, like down in Dalton and other points in and around our area. But when you go to look at it, you have to look at how teams can be supported, what time of year that they're playing. They're going after similar marketing partners or advertisers to support their initiative. And whether or not they're playing around the same time, or in the case, I'll give you a good example up in Erie, Pennsylvania, where I used to have one of my radio stations. We broadcast an indoor football team, and we also broadcast a semi-pro football team that also plays in the same league as Chattanooga Eagles, just different divisions. Well, both teams played, pardon me, at this same time of year, beginning in February, and they would go into about May or June. Now, even though one was indoors, one was outdoors, both teams kind of were able to attract similar crowds. They tried to schedule their games to where if one was on the road, the other one would be at home. It's not always easy because when you're talking about two different forms of football, there are two different leagues. The leagues aren't usually smart enough to try to work and balance a schedule. But we were able to succeed, and we were able to be able to broadcast both teams, which got to be a little tricky, but we were able to do that on my radio station and also our sports network that we had up there, Keystone Sports Network. And whether or not you could be able to succeed with something like that here in Chattanooga, yeah, it's possible. But I think someone will end up faltering in the end result, whether it's the pro team or the amateur team, we don't know. But hopefully they can work things out. That would be the important thing. 423-800-8949 is the phone number to call. You can also text us your comments or questions on our Facebook page, Facebook Live with Nooga Radio 92.7 FM. So make sure that you get your questions in or comments. I will be glad when I get rid of this cold that's in my throat. It's making me having to cough a little bit more. Usually I get it in the wintertime, and I know this is not the winter by far, but do get it. It kind of hinders me a little bit in my speech, but we try to get around it. You know, while we were talking baseball here in Chattanooga, Brent Rooker was named the Southern League Player of the Week for this past week. It was just announced here after yesterday. Rooker had a standout week for the Lookouts, hitting .500, 13 for 26 with 3 homers and 7 RBIs. He's the 2017 SEC Player of the Year. And also drew 7 walks last week. His on-base percentage of .606 was the highest in Double-A during that span. Former Mississippi State product kicked off the week with a first-inning home run against the Blue Wahoos. Proceeded to hit a home run in the first inning in 2 more games in that series. Rooker now has 20 homers on the year, which is second in the Southern League. Now ranks in the top 5 and 8 offensive categories and tied for the league lead in RBIs with 67. His dominant performance last week has continued. In Rooker's stellar start to the second half, 26 games this half, he's hit .310, 44 for 142 with 11 homers, 27 RBIs, and 19 walks. In that span, he's hit 25 extra base hits, which ties him for the most in all of minor league baseball since June 21st. Tonight, Rooker and the Lookouts face off against the Tennessee Smokies in Game 3 of their 5-game series. And he's enjoyed success against the Smokies this season in 18 games against. He's hitting a team-high .362 or 25 for 62 with 5 homers and 18 RBIs. Now, the Lookouts are going to be back home on this upcoming weekend. They return home on Thursday, August 2nd for 10 games in 11 days. Team's homestand features Used Car Night on Saturday, August 4th at 7:15. Presented by Tennessee Valley Federal Credit Union, and purchase tickets to the Used Car Night and the rest of the homestand. Call the Lookouts box office at 267-4849 or visit lookouts.com. We've got more coming your way in tonight's show. We'll talk a little bit more sports, of course, and we'll have a little NASCAR update we'll also check in on as well. Once again, remember, if you'd like to participate, call us at 423-800-8949, 423-800-8949. Coming up after the 8 o'clock hour, we've got none other than the Clutch Man himself, Keon Rose with The Clutch, coming your way right after CBS World and National News here on Nooga Radio 92.7 FM. So join us. We've got more to talk about right here tonight on Nooga Radio 92.7 FM and 95.3 FM HD4, and of course at NoogaRadio.com, live on Facebook and YouTube. Nooga Radio 92.7 FM. Back with more in a moment.
Traffic, news, and information. Nooga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4 and 92.7 FM.
3, 2, 1.
Chatta, Nooga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4, 92.7 FM's news now.
2 men fell off the edge of a Suck Creek Mountain Trail. One of them later died at the hospital, according to the Marion County Sheriff. Rescuers recovered the 2 men Saturday afternoon, both victims reportedly in their 20s. Grundy County deputies pull over William Dunwoody on Friday night for driving on a suspended license. The 62-year-old's car was searched after deputies say they got consent. Inside, deputies report they discovered 14 grams of methamphetamine. Dunwoody taken to jail and a female passenger arrested on unrelated warrants. And we usually ignore our dogs when they start barking, but maybe we should listen more often. Chattanooga homeowner heard her alerted dog, went to see what was going on. WRCB reports she found a suspicious man prowling the neighborhood. Police arrived. Kudo Coleman charged with theft of property and possession of burglary tools. Good dog. Val St. John for Nooga Radio, News Talk 92.7, Action News now.
David Tulis. I made the move 1 o'clock every weekday afternoon, 1 till 3, Nooga Radio.
92.7 Chattanooga weather.
It's quite muggy out there through your nighttime hours. Could see a stray shower or storm overnight, lows into the lower 70s. For Tuesday, scattered showers and storms becoming more likely for the afternoon. Highs settling into the lower 80s with unsettled and milder weather expected through the midweek. For lunch or dinner, come to Guthrie's, home of the original golden fried delicious chicken finger with their special world famous sauce. Open daily. Locations in Trenton, Signal Mountain, and Ringgold. Go get Guthrie's. It's always good. And I'm Sourcine 12 Chief Meteorologist Patrick Ford.
Nooga Radio 92.7.
I got my business up and running, and it's already expanding. I got lucky. Lucky because I found Signal Voice and Data. Signal Voice and Data can incorporate all of my business information sharing and communications seamlessly, keep my costs down, and let me work more productively with endless connectivity no matter where I might be. That's called working smart, not hard. Go to signalvoicetn.com and bring the future of communication to your business today. signalvoicetn.com.
I live, work, and play in Chattanooga, the scenic city. But when it comes to my next car, truck, or SUV, I'm Alabama bound. Fort Payne, Alabama, and Landers McClarty Ford. Big city selection of new and pre-owned vehicles with the small town price and friendly service. No, I'm not knocking my hometown, but when it comes to my next ride, I only go to Landers McClarty Ford of Fort Payne. Their selection is huge. But if I can't find what I want, they'll find it for me with the same low price, same great service, and only a short drive away. And I can go online to look around before I leave the house. Got that next dream ride in your head yet? Yeah, you do. Get a head start at LandersMcClartyFord@FortPayne.com. Don't just dream it, find it at LandersMcClartyFord@FortPayne.com. That's right, Landers McClarty Ford of Fort Payne, Alabama.
Nooga Radio.
Roar into Talladega.
Hello? Who am I speaking with? Eric, you're our winner.
Really?
You'll receive tickets for all 3 races between the Camping World Truck Series, Xfinity Series, and the Monster Energy Cup races.
Holy cow.
In addition, you'll receive a 2-night stay at the Microtel Hotel and restaurant accommodations at 2 area restaurants.
Nooga Radio.
Roar into Talladega.
Nooga Radio 92.7.
Your NASCAR racing station. Nooga Radio 92.7 FM.
Nooga Radio 92.7.
Do you hear that? That, my friend, is not what you're thinking. That is the new 2018 Indian Chieftain Dark Horse. Yeah, Indian. Indian motorcycle is more than a bike. It's an experience, an American icon. And Indian Motorcycle of Chattanooga is the only place you'll find their new 2018 line. Are you ready to ride? Join the club. Go to Indian Motorcycle of Chattanooga. Just look for the sign, 153 and Amnicola. Indian Motorcycle, the true American original.
Call 423-875-3600 if you're looking to expand your professional look of your business. Then consider the vast opportunities that are available when you locate your office with the Rains Group family. Remember, it's location, location, location. And the Rains Group has the location for your professional office. Check out the spaces for lease at Executive Business Park on the Lee Highway. Small or large, we will be able to suit your needs with the Rains Group. Call 423-875-3600 for the business professionals with the Rains Group.
Chattanooga Paint and Decorating would like to remind you it's so hot out there. And guess what? Your deck is taking a beating. It's probably starting to show wear. If you're hosting friends, get your deck entertainment ready with a fresh coat of stain and protect it from heat, sun, and rain with a quality sealant. If you want to get to work, Chattanooga Paint and Decorating want to help you. For exterior paint, stains, sealants, and supplies, stop by Chattanooga Paint and Decorating today on Hicks and Pike across from Valvoline or online at ChattanoogaPaint.com.
Nuga Radio. Are you brain dead? Still voting for pathetic liberals? Take 3 hours of Sean Hannity from 3 to 6.
Nuga Radio.
Then call us in the morning between 9 and 11.
92.7
Nuga Radio. It's the moment you've been waiting for. Sam Jordan's Nuga Radio, 92.7 Sports. Now. It's Monday night. It's the Locker Room Show. And yours truly, Sam Jordan, here on Nuga Radio, 92.7 FM.
Hey, good evening and welcome. And we'd like to give you the phone number to call in if you'd like to participate. 423-800-8949. 423-800-8949. And you can also put your questions down in writing on Facebook Live at Nuga Radio 92.7 FM. And we'll be more than glad to get your message that you have or comment or question if you don't want to talk on the radio. We promise we'll be nice. We won't be rough with you. Let you state your question or comment about whatever the topic is at hand. Hey, what are you doing for lunch tomorrow? I want to remind you about the Olive Branch Mediterranean Deli located on Ringgold Road over in East Ridge. Tomorrow they're having pasticcio, pork chops Tuscan style, stuffed shells, and Greek lemon chicken. For all you vegetarians out there, they got stuffed vegetables with spinach and feta cheese. If you're a vegan, chickpeas and rice are on the special tomorrow for the Olive Branch Mediterranean Deli in East Ridge. Tell you what, I've ate there a couple times. I'm telling you what, I was a little apprehensive at first. You know, I like trying things for the first time. I will go out on a limb and I'll try anything once. But I tell you what, thinking Mediterranean is probably going to be like in the same category for me of not liking Vietnamese or things that are really highly spicy. Mediterranean really isn't that, but I'm kind of clumping it in that category. It's like I'm fearing it before even trying it, which, you know, is a no-no. I shouldn't do that. But I tell you what, I went with Jen and Jennifer from here at the station, and I tell you what, you couldn't have asked for better food, enormous portions. So, you know, even an old codger like me loves the great food that they have there at the Olive Branch Mediterranean Deli. I had their Greek lemon chicken, and I tell you what, it's so good. Not trying to take anything away from Mr. Food, the guy that does the little features on TV. But I tell you what, it was really good. And then the great staff there, the owners and the other staff members there, they pile it on your plate. I mean, at least I think they did. And I've managed restaurants before, but food's really good there at the Olive Branch. Try it out. See, I was looking here for the address. I know it's on Ringgold Road, just down past the Salvation Army thrift store and past the Speedway and everything. Can't miss it. Great location, great food, wonderful atmosphere. So check it out. You know, we were talking earlier about how teams are ramping up, getting ready for their upcoming season, whether it's playoffs or, you know, in the case of the NFL, you know, their teams are looking at, you know, finding those little niche athletes out there that could help make an improvement on the team. And I always state my favorite teams is the Arkansas Razorbacks, Penn State Nittany Lions, and now I'll go out on a limb and root for the Tennessee Vols if they're not playing my Razorbacks. That's on the college scene. I haven't came up with a favorite team on the high school level yet. And we've got so many here in the Tennessee Valley. I'm almost afraid to come out with a favorite per se. But, I'm really intrigued with the various teams that we have here in the Chattanooga area. Just from what I was able to capture and take notes on from last football season. A lot of state playoff teams from this area. Even if they went to the first round, that's still impressive. So it will be interesting to see how well that they do here going into this season. Then on the NFL level, it's the Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys. Always has been, always will be. Now, I've got 3 sons that are Philadelphia Eagle fans. Because in Pennsylvania, you kind of got a multitude of teams that you can choose to root for. You got the Steelers, you got the Eagles, you got the Buffalo Bills, you got the Baltimore Ravens, the Washington Redskins, and of course those 2 teams that are over in New York, or actually the Meadowlands in New Jersey, with the Jets and the Giants. And then you go over to the western part of the state, and you've got some Cleveland Browns fans and some Cincinnati Bengals fans. So there's a multitude of teams to choose from, but I'll root for the Steelers in the AFC. And then the NFC, if they're not playing my Cowboys, I'll root for the Eagles. Now, since I've came down here, I've kind of gravitated toward the Titans. And I really think the Titans are going to be a much better improved team as we go along. So now that I don't have my Steelers to root for or go to those games, I'm going to switch my allegiance. Yes, you're hearing it here. And I'm going to switch my allegiance and go with the Titans. I'm not going to get into the Atlanta Falcons. I mean, I see them on occasion when they play my Cowboys, and it's just, one of those things. I'm just going to stick to one NFC team and one AFC team and call it a day. NBA, years ago, and this was even before I moved to the Northeast. When I lived over in Arkansas, I rooted for the Boston Celtics because back in the 80s, it was the Celtics and the Lakers. So I didn't like the arrogance that the Lakers had and may still have to a degree, even though their thunder isn't as much as what it had been. But I'm still basically a Celtics fan. I haven't gotten into the Hawks, at least not yet, or the Charlotte Bobcats, or the other teams that are in proximity to here, the Memphis Grizzlies. No, I haven't gotten into them either. So I'm still kind of hanging my hat on the Celtics bandwagon. And then when you get into Major League Baseball, it is the St. Louis Cardinals. It will never, ever, ever, ever be the Braves. Ever. Just, no, not happening. Hockey, Pittsburgh Penguins and Nashville Predators kind of have the split on that love. And I'm seeing more and more Preds games than I have of my Penguins. And so my allegiance, does shift over to the Preds. And hopefully we'll be seeing more of those Preds coming up here after September gets here. Once we get a chance to get down with football and basketball here on the local scene, we'll try to make that happen. They go into about, I think April or May if they make the playoffs and stuff. So really good there. But I haven't gotten into soccer per se. I haven't even got to see the CFC yet. Now I've heard all about the Chattahooligans and they're the input behind the or the highlight, I guess you could say, of soccer action here in Chattanooga. But I haven't gotten into the pro scene or even the scene of, the amateur soccer. And I'm sure I will at some point in time. Now, NASCAR, Mark Martin was my guy, had been for years. So I've been kind of in a state of, trying to figure this out of who to root for in NASCAR. Dale Jr.'s retired. Tony Stewart's retired. Jeff Gordon. And I've never been really a Jeff Gordon fan. But we're kind of in that flux where we need to kind of figure out a new race star to get behind. And I'm kind of leaning toward Ryan Blaney, his parents, I know, own a racetrack over in Western Pennsylvania and very involved in local racing there in northeastern Ohio and Western Pennsylvania. And I'm kind of leaning toward him, but I'm also thinking about Chase Elliott, and maybe one of the other up and coming rising stars out there, because, I haven't really had a race driver to get behind for the last 4 or 5 years. And since, it's been a little longer than that because Mark's been out of it for a while. It was great seeing Mark when he was over at Car Express here a couple months ago, when he was over there for, autograph session and meeting with the fans of NASCAR and checking out the various items that you could select from there at Car Express there right off of Shallowford Road and 153. Mark actually owns, I think, 4 or 5 different dealerships over in Arkansas. Most of them are Fords, and he does have one Chevy dealership, which makes him a good guy for sure. I'm more Chevy than I am Ford. We're going over our picks here of our favorites. And I'm sure that you've got the same, where it may be a mishmash of sorts in geographic regions and stuff, but it's always fun to talk about those. Now, getting back to what I was talking about, where teams are trying to improve on things. The Cowboys, they feel that they've got a great deal when they signed Tyron Smith. He's got a contract incredibly with 6 years left on it, an average salary of $12.2 million a year. Now he's 27 years old. He's an offensive tackle and should play well into their 30s and could play out the entire length of that contract. But the Cowboys were able to pick him up at what they consider a bargain. And teams are looking all over to try to fit under the salary caps and find those bargains that could help them improve on their outlook for the upcoming season or seasons ahead. And you try to find them when they're young, and they may go through maybe 2 to 4 contracts before they finally call it a day. And you just don't know when you can, find that individual that may make it as a career with one team, like Tom Brady. So it's interesting to see all the jockeying going on, and it'll really be interesting here, especially after tomorrow, when all the Major League Baseball trading deadline is complete at midnight tomorrow night, and how they were able to, find those players that they need for those particular playoff teams, or teams like the Phillies that's looking at just shoring things up and getting ready for the future, I guess you could say. We're going to check in with Woody King, get you updated with the latest on NASCAR today here on Nuga Radio 92.7 FM, your NASCAR racing station.
Suarez finishes second and says the young guys are getting better.
Not like a switch that you just have to turn it on and you're going to be running great.
I'm Woody King. The story next on NASCAR Today.
I noticed my neighbor put a broken World's Best Dad mug in the recycling bin by his curb. So I did what anyone would do. Fixed it with some JB Weld Clear Weld epoxy, then returned the next morning to stand in his yard and drink coffee. He and his family stared out the window at me with confusion, and underneath that, fear. And underneath that, I want to say jealous anger. But underneath that, there was also appreciation for a lesson well learned. Don't toss it, JB Weld it.
At AutoZone, helping you get more done is what we do best. Like with the AutoZone Rewards program, you'll earn a $20 reward every time you spend $20 or more 5 times. It's just one more way to get more done. Protect your engine from wear while protecting your wallet with great deals on oil change supplies from AutoZone. Visit any of our 5,500 locations nationwide and let us do more for you. See program terms on AutoZone.com/rewards. Restrictions and details in store.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Yeah, Kyle Busch won at Pocono Sunday for his 6th victory of the year, matching Kevin Harvick, but Daniel Suarez notched a career-best runner-up finish on a day when 5 of the top 7 drivers were 26 years old or younger. Now, Suarez says it's about time, and he's ready for Watkins Glen, where he finished 3rd a year ago.
We know how good we run in the Glen, and now we had a good result. My first time there in the Cup car, so we are not expecting anything less. We have good momentum right now in our side, and hopefully we can keep that going.
Elsewhere, Michael Annett has a new crew chief in the Xfinity Series at Junior Motorsports. Travis Mack, who had been with Casey Kane on the Cup side, will now top the pit box for the 5 car. I'm Woody Kane. This is NASCAR Today on the Motor Racing Network.
Thank you very much there, Woody. And you can catch all your NASCAR racing action this Sunday with I believe it's I Love New York 355 at the Glen up in Watkins Glen, New York. Beautiful area right on the lake. And if you ever get up there, you will really fall in love with it for its quaintness. And, of course, its wonderful hospitality as well. And race will get underway, I believe, at 1:30, where the broadcast coverage will get under at 1:30 on Sunday. So Kyle Busch and Martin Truex Jr. and several others really making strides as we get closer to the race for the chase. That will be the final 10 races of the NASCAR regular season. And, of course, everything ends up and culminates at Miami Homestead Speedway. And that race comes on November the 18th with the Ford EcoBoost 400. And that will finish out the season. So NASCAR, February to November, and gives you 11 months of racing. And it's still not a quiet issue at that. All right, I'm going to jump over here to our next microphone as I want to get a little closer to where I don't lose my cord here. Seattle Seahawks linebacker Joshua Perry announced his retirement from the NFL just this afternoon after suffering his 6th documented concussion in his football career. He quoted in a statement on Twitter, "The last thing I want to do is put the health of my brain and my future well-being in jeopardy over a game and a paycheck." The 24-year-old was a 4th-round draft pick out of Ohio State in 2016 and spent time with the San Diego Chargers and the Indianapolis Colts. He appeared in 15 games during his rookie season with the Chargers, making 22 tackles and forcing a fumble. Before last season, he was placed on injured reserve and later waived and was picked up by the Indianapolis Colts. Spent much of 2017 on the practice squad while appearing in just 2 games. Signed with the Seahawks back in June, was set to make $630,000 this season. Unfortunately, concussions have ended his career before he got a chance to reach his potential, and he'll be remembered fondly for his time at Ohio State as a 3-year starter and a leader of an elite defense, leading the Buckeyes with 125 tackles on the way to the 2014 National Championship. So I have to commend Mr. Perry for thinking about his well-being, and that's why I'm not trying to get on a soapbox. But, that's why you go and play and go to school for 4 years, get that degree, because you never know when this day is going to come about to where you have to step aside and give more common sense than the pocketbook sense. So I'm sure that he will do well. And hopefully the concussions, the 6 that are documented, and there could be others that they may not be aware of, You never know. But hopefully it does not have an impact, a long-lasting impact on his health. His health is more important than anything than a game. I've never been a pro athlete, but I'm going to put my well-being well ahead of killing myself. You got to think smart. Work smart, not harder. Right? So Joshua Perry making that decision here earlier today in giving up a sport that he has loved for a long time and has excelled at. Just the injuries, taking the wrath of things. All right, 423-800-8949. We still got time for you to call in here briefly. But Keon Rose and the Clutch coming up here in just a little bit. Right after CBS World and National News. And, of course, you can always catch us tomorrow with the sports updates going on throughout the day, getting you updated with all the latest that's happening. Want to remind you that 7,500 amateur golfers descended on California for the 2018 United States Amateur Golf tournament going on. Rising senior Etienne Brault qualified to join them recently for the August 13th through 19th Golfapalooza. He's from UTC and trying to make some history and qualifying for the big summer event going on out in California. Keon Rose is up next, right after CBS World and National News. Thanks for joining us. We'll talk to you again tomorrow. Have a great evening.